It is our goal in life to put in the least amount of work for the largest amount of gains. And as you can imagine, effort equals time, and time equals money, and that's where expensive products fall into line, unfortunately. But once a blue moon, a unicorn rears its head and completely demolishes this theory. Welcome to the LETSHUOER S12 IEM review. Let's talk. When this IEM was dropped off at CMA here, a very large thank you to Viking and Skedra for setting up this tour, and a massive shout out and thank you to LETSHUOER for actually putting ConvinceMeAudio on the review tour. I really was not expecting much. It's $149 IEM, and with that you get this cover case, a very old school Apple-esque lid, and instructions and manual. Very basic. We don't need those. And I wasn't really expecting much, because I thought, for once, like every other industry, the least amount of money you put in most of the time seems to be the least amount of effort. And then unpacking the IEMs from this beautiful box, you get these aluminum alloy housing that's matte finished, perfect seal all around the edges, absolutely beautiful and tiny. Look at the size of this thing. They're very small IEMs. A bunch of tips. These are the foam ones. Okay, I thought to myself, this is nice, you get quite a bit. And then things started to happen. So I lifted the foam. Okay, basic as usual. I was presented with this beautiful case. Leather. Okay, very ergonomic. This can go inside your briefcase, your pocket, or your jacket pocket. Another 2 sets of tips. Okay, I thought we're pushing the boat out here already for $149. This is nice. Case is nice, the IEMs look nice. And then I was presented with this cable. I want to start with this cable before we go back to the IEMs, because of all the IEMs I have tried over the years and manufacturers supplying cables, I think this trumps them all. It's a 1.25 meter, fantastic length. Cable itself is braided, yet each of the cables that intertwines each other is twisted as well. So you get this beautiful matte, slightly rough texture, very nice flexibility, doesn't keep its shape. Look at this thing. In a $149 IEM box, I was absolutely shocked. And when you reach out to LETSHUOER, they can provide you with a 3.5 millimeter connection or a 4.4 balanced. This one is the 3.5 millimeter. The connections for the IEMs themselves are a 2-pin, so very versatile and very universal. Absolutely fantastic. This is a silver-plated monocrystalline cable. Sounds absolutely fantastic. It's the sort of cable that I legitimately expect Viking Skedra to make. I am so enamored by this cable. The weight, the ergonomics, the length, absolutely fantastic. So yes, instantly 5 tigers for this cable. Well done. You really have outdone yourself. Now, going back to these IEMs, the IEMs, like I stated, are an aluminium alloy for the housing. Inside, we get a 14.8 planar single driver IEM. I have not come across these manufacturers actually putting e-stats and dynamic drivers and stuff with planar. I don't know what the reason behind that is. I actually want to look it up, because this other one that is going to be reviewed, the EJ07M, is a bunch of drivers. So you've got a dynamic in there, you've got 2 balanced armatures and 4 e-stats. But coming back to this this unicorn. So, planar IEM, fantastic. Previously on the channel, we have not reviewed any planar IEMs as of yet. The iSign 20s are over there. They are the weirdest thing you can possibly imagine. We will get to those at some point. But myself, I have tested the P1 from Tin. Those were a planar IEM, fantastic sounding IEM, but they required a massive truck to drive them, literally. I was running it on the Sennheiser HDVD 800 review up here. That amplifier can power 4 HD 800Ss simultaneously, and yet the P1s drove the amplifier to 80% of its freaking volume. It was insane, unbalanced, and so therefore they were utterly useless unless at the desk, and to be frank, all the effort was not really worth it. So, these planar IEM that cost $149 comes with this cable, nice packaging, narrow bore, so it's actually very, very form-fitting and comfortable. You got a little bump here for the concha of the ear inside here to go inside and sit perfectly. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic strain relief and excellent over-the-ear cord that conforms to the ear perfectly. Very good isolation. Okay, it's gotta sound utterly crap, right? I mean, come on, I'm already really shelling these for absolutely good reason. Then I put them on. I used one of these, the IFI Go Blue. Thank you to IFI for sending this in for review. The review for this will be coming shortly as well. I didn't know what to expect. So I, obviously after checking out the tips to see which ones were the best ones, we have the really narrow bore ones here, and we have the wide bore ones here. Settling on the open bores, because the bore is slightly wider than I would have expected. I never want to impeach that bore because it crushes mid-range most of the time. So that's why I'm going to give you guys two different sound characteristics for these IEMs. Anyway, once checking out these tips that sealed perfectly in my ears, I threw it on the IFI Go Blue. Come on, hit me, what have you got? I am absolutely blown away by the performance of these IEMs. So these LETSHUOER S12s are a 16 ohm IEM, easy to drive, harder than some, easier than most. The sensitivity is above 100 dB. I could not find the detail on the website to let you know precisely. Hopefully they would have updated that, and then I can put it in the description down below. And that brings us nicely to the sound overview. These IEMs with this tip, the open bore specifically, are a sub-bass heavy, mid-forward, relaxed treble IEM with a smooth sound signature that does not roll pin detail. I am absolutely shocked by the performance. They did require burn-in, 10 hours, no more than that. It didn't change after that, but for the first 10 hours, we did get quite a bit of change. It's mind-boggling to get the level of performance that these are giving out. I have tested a lot of IEMs on this channel. I have owned humongous amount of IEMs over the last 18 years from pretty much all the manufacturers that were thriving at the time. But I am telling you now, due to China and due to these IEMs coming out so frequently, we are at a shatter point, a paradigm shift, because this IEM 10 years ago would have cost you $2,500 from JH Audio. The control in the sub-bass region, the presentation of the stage, the tonal balance of the vocals, the detail, the slam, the impact, the texture, and the performance is nothing short of insanity at this price point. Before I break down the frequency response for you, I am telling you now, these IEMs are the best IEMs you're going to grab under $1,000, beating every single thing I have reviewed, from the Nanas, Nana 2s, Starlights, every single one of the Shure SE line, including the 846, which costs £800, I think still, these are king. Every single one of you who owns Zeospantera's 1266 and down should own one of these. Because for a daily driver, on the go, for a fun sounding IEM, you're not going to find better. And this will alleviate the scary thought of destroying your custom IEM or something because you're constantly out and about. I think I've gushed enough. I'm going to break down the frequency response now so you can decide for yourself. Let's start with the bass region, starting at the sub bass. It's elevated, it's nuanced, it's got a good characteristic capability to allow you to identify different instruments. You will never get a convoluted bunch of instruments in the sub-bass region with this IEM without identifying which one is making the sound. They separate wonderfully. The resonances of each individual note, for example, if a bassist is going from D to C to B to A to F sharp, etc., resonate with the same power and strength as the previous note, so that as you're going up higher in the scale, you're not losing any of the impact, and only a few IEMs and headphones can actually do this. It's mind-blowing. I have no idea. I think the price must be wrong on these. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So the sub bass is on par, and it's easily drivable on an IFI Gold Blue. I mean, some IEMs, such as this one, the EJ07M, requires a powerful chain behind me to actually sound its best, and it really does change night and day. It didn't sound too special on this. But on the OR, Hypsos and the Benchmark DAC3 behind me that's just landed, oh, if you are interested in that, you know what to do. Punch the subscribe button and kick the notification icon so you will not miss it. Climbing up to the mid-bass region, it's slightly forward, but not overly so. It doesn't imbibe the lower bass and the upper bass by overpowering. No, there is just enough there to give you the knock of a subwoofer-esque like sound. This doesn't sound like a lean planar. It's very much reminiscent of the unique Melody Mest Mark II bass, and that's a dynamic driver. Check the review out up here if you're interested in that IEM. In fact, the performance of these IEMs, take away the bone conduction driver from the unique Melody Mest Mark II, you have these at 1/15 of the price. And I don't say that lightly, I freaking love those. So the mid bass knocks, it kicks, it's very punchy, it's not too forward, the sub bass is more elevated above the mid bass region. And then we climb up to the upper bass region. This is where this truly shines, because it doesn't overshadow the lower mid-range, gives enough power to the treble region so that when you get of tom-toms on a drum kit without it sounding thin or harsh to the ears, and yet it's slightly laid back so that the lower mid-range region is forward. And then the mid-range will tilt, but we'll get to that in a second. So the upper bass region is a fantastically controlled area of the frequency response without it overshadowing the mid bass and the lower mid-range. So yes, superb bass, worthy of a focal clear OG, worthy of a LCD-X 2019. And I don't say these things lightly. I don't say these things for hype. I say these things for technical performance. If you've been a long-time viewer of the channel since its conception, you know I test against the very best in the industry. The Hi-Fi-Man Zeospantera's, the Stellias, the LCD line, Diana's from Abyss, etc. Oh, and the beautiful Verite closed review will be coming shortly. This is remarkable. Let's talk about the mid-range. The lower mid-range is more forward than the mid-mids and the upper mids. And the upper bass region, like we stated, is slightly back so that the lower mid-range has front and center staging. Climbing up to the mid-mids. This region is clear, open, beautifully transparent, nicely textured, and actually very, very smooth. Again, very, very smooth. Then going up to the upper mid-range region, it's not too forward, it's slightly laid back in fact. So is the lower treble region, and they work very, very well together. So for people who are actually very sensitive in this region, you will be more than fine with these. These IEMs work across a large amount of genres. We will get onto that after the frequency response breakdown, but it's very smooth and it actually works very, very well. So a beautiful tilting mid-forward IEM, you're not missing anything. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay, treble region. The lower treble region on this IEM is smooth, very well detailed, fantastic, really, really impressive, and it works really well from that region all the way down to the sub bass. So it's neither harsh nor discordant, and it's extremely smooth and very well detailed. But climbing up to the mid treble and the upper treble, that's where these IEMs show their quality in regards to, yes, they're not the multi-kilobuck IEMs that are competing against the Anole VX, the MAD 16s, and some of the other hard hitters of the industry like the IER Z1Rs. For on the go and on IFI Go Blue or these Apple dongles, or ES100 there, it's fantastic. For on the go, you're not gonna miss much really. But when you're sitting and you're actually, what you're planning to do is to do reference listening and analysis, this is where you can tell that, yes, these IEMs are the category that's under the $1,000. The treble region of IEMs is the most expensive part of the IEM. It's the hardest part to do correctly, and it shows. It's very good. It's on the level of the Unique Melody Mest Mark 1s. Check the review for that up there so you know what I'm talking about. It's not quite as refined as the rest of the frequency response, but smooth, good detail, but it's not a multi-kilobuck IEM in that region. The tonal balance of these IEMs, like I stated, is absolutely exceptional. In fact, it's multi-kilobuck worthy. It's incredible how well it's tonally balanced. Timbre is very good up to the lower treble region. I think for cymbals and instruments in that region, when it goes above the lower treble region, that's when you can find out that yes, it's okay, it's good, it's nice, but it's just nothing special. Where something like the MAD 16s will blow your freaking mind, these are just, yeah, it's nice. It's on the levels of the Unique Melody, like I stated, the first generation. Not bad air up there. I wouldn't say it's overly airy. A bit more insulated, I would say. Fantastic decay and cadence. Nice reverb, reproduction, not bad at all. Just nothing absolutely special. And these do scale up on heavier equipment like at a desk. So it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. So for those categories, it's pretty good, but you're in the region of, yes, sub $1,000. Let's move over to vocals. Vocals tuning on these IEMs are just outstanding. From the lower notes of the chest to the upper register, it's smooth, it's present, it's got definition in front and behind it so that it pops up in the air like that here. And you can just point to it and you can hear its reverberation around itself. It's absolutely fantastic. In fact, vocals on these, I think, might even nip at the heels of the Z1R and maybe the Anole VX a little bit too. I can't believe I'm saying that. Those are like $2,000 to $2,500. But yes, vocals are well textured, well nuanced, very, very well detailed. Resolution is very high. Backing vocals are not just out of phase and a bit of a mess back here or behind you or to the sides. It's as present as the front and center vocal. Very few headphones do this well. The dynamics of the vocals in the backing region is not as spectacular as an old VX, but it's still pretty freaking spectacular. Definitely beating out something like the LCD-X 2019, which I can't believe I'm saying, to be honest with you. So vocals are fantastic on this. It's a fantastic all-around IEM for a very cheap price that 97% of you can reach for. This is cheaper than consumer-grade headphones and IEMs, and it's giving you this quality. This and the IFI Go Blue together, I don't think you need anything else for on the go. I really, really don't think you do. And I had the pleasure, thanks to Grant, of actually connecting the Theo wireless adapters onto this and turning it into a true wireless. I'm gonna bring those in for review and actually test these IEMs and others with it. It's a fantastic product. It's in its infancy at the moment. Sound quality is not on the levels of this stuff, but it's like 85% of the way there, and it's for convenience sake when you're in the garden and kind of cleaning the house and stuff. Turning these into a truly wireless IEM was absolutely astonishing. So thanks, Grant. I really do appreciate it, and I will be bringing one of those in for review for you guys, just so that it can give you a little bit more convenience when they land, and if you do buy these or any other IEM. Soundstage on this IEM is fantastic in the depth region. Okay, left to right. Not too bad behind you. But it's the depth that truly shine with these. Instruments have a tendency to be above each other. They've got height. They can layer so that the vocals are here, the drums are behind it over here like this. Guitarist is up here, and the reverb and the cadence is behind them like this. It's a fantastically well-controlled stage. Instruments can come at angles, laterally to each other, cross without fading in the sound, dynamics, and then coming back up again. It's the same level of sonic quality and volume across the stage like this. You can see between instruments. It's actually got space between instruments for you to identify and pick up the reverberations of instruments. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. Every time I listen to this in the morning when I wake up with my coffee and as I'm sorting out the admin side of stuff, I am smiling at what these are managing at $149 freaking. Okay, let's talk about some caveats. I think the letdown of these IEMs is in the mid-treble and the upper treble. The resolution and the tonality and the timbre is not on the levels of multi-kilowatt IEMs. I mean, if this was slightly like 15% better in the treble region, in the mid-treble and upper treble, I would happily put down $1,600 for these and not even bat an eyelid, because it feels great. It's extremely small, it's ergonomic, and it's got beautiful tonal balance. And it brings the thunder and the fun. It's not an analytical, neutral listening experience. It's elevated sub-bass, it's slightly mid-forward with these tips, and it's a fantastic performer. But for caveats, it's that treble region. For me, personally. As soon as I stop for a moment and my brain goes into analytical mode, it goes, yeah, this is a fantastic performance, fantastic price to money ratio, but you're not going to be replacing your MAD 16s and MAD 24s and an old VX kind of category just yet. Not with these. I can't wait to see the second generation of these, to see what they pull off. I really can't wait. But for everything else, absolutely outstanding, and you should all be owning one. You should, every single one of you, be owning one of these. So it's time to do the scores. The LETSHUOER S12's 2022 might be crowned IEM for price to performance ratio. Not only because of the incredible cable you get, not only because of its ease of use and drivability, not only because of its comfort and beautiful design, but most importantly for its sound quality. Something that is a rare unicorn to get such performance at such a low price. I am proud and glad to say pretty much all of you will be able to reach for it and have a fantastic audio performance, outpacing LCD X 2019, honestly. Outpacing HD6XX. Subjectively speaking, for me personally, it does. 1 tiger, 2 tigers, 3 tigers, 4 tigers, 5 tigers. LETSHUOER, you have created magic for people who can't reach for the Summit tier headphones. Well done. I'm going to be watching your company very closely for the successor to these. Thanks again to Viking Weave for setting up the tour, and thanks again to LETSHUOER for putting ConvinceMeAudio on the review tour. It's very, very much appreciated. These are a review unit, but now the review's completed, I am going to be reaching out and paying for one of these as my daily driver, just for on the go with the IFI Go Blue, just so that I've got this in-house. Because for the under $1,000 category, this is king. As it stands, this is the IEM to beat. I would like to talk to you about our Patreon, where as soon as equipment such as these, or like the All and the Hypsos behind me drop, you get my impressions immediately in the private Telegram chat, you get videos, unboxings, and you get my quick analysis, hot takes, before the review is released on YouTube. And even before that, the reviews are released to you guys on Patreon first. So if that's something that you might fancy, consider joining the ambush of tigers and joining the party. And I would like to thank our public Telegram chat members. That chat has blown up. Thank you so much. So many great bunch of guys in there. Absolutely fantastic, and I really do appreciate the support. It's wonderful. I am Koji CEO. I will see you in the next one. Peace.